Florida is the theme park capital of the world. There's like 11 or 12 different theme parks stretched between Orlando and Tampa.
I just felt all of the Ohio enthusiasts just go from like 1,000 miles away.
The difference is everything in Orlando is within an hour radius.
That's true.
Listen, the point is, even Florida does not have everything. Even with all of those theme parks, all the different roller coasters there are
damn near close, though.
There are still rides, though, that they could add that would be beneficial to the overall Florida market.
I would agree. And we came up with a list of 10 that we think would be beneficial for one reason or another. So we started off with the most practical, like probably the most likely to happen, things that make the most sense. And then as you get a little further down the list, it starts to go into Taylor and Sarah's imagination.
Yeah, it's a wish
and
list.
dream.
I know.
Yes.
But what we wanted to do is we wanted to assign each of these roller coaster types to the park that would probably be most likely to build it. I think we should talk about number one. It's the kind of, I feel like, the obvious one. It's a Giga Coaster.
I think it is odd that somewhere like Florida does not have a Giga Coaster yet, but at the same time, it does kind of make sense. If you look at the Orlando parks, it's a lot of like families that come here. Mm-hmm. And the only park that is really trying to stand out in Orlando as like the roller coaster place, that's SeaWorld.
Yeah.
But I don't ever see SeaWorld doing something like that. I don't even think they have the room to do something like that. So that's why my brain tells me that the most likely option would be Busch Gardens, Tampa.
I think that is the clear park that if any place is going to build a Giga, it would be them. I think they have the room for it.
But it makes sense.
It'd be a great fit there, too.
Yeah, because they don't have anything like that. Like, they have the RMC Hyper Hybrid, so they have something over 200 feet.
But they don't even have a B&M Hyper.
Exactly. SeaWorld does. So that's why I don't think it really makes a whole lot of sense there.
Because realistically, if they're going to build a Giga Coaster, it's going to be B&M.
Correct.
Like, it just makes sense.
Next one on the list is going to a park that I feel really needs like that standout roller coaster, and that is Fun Spot Orlando. Don't get me wrong, White Lightning is fun. Freedom Flyer is, it's there.
It's a family coaster.
It's there. And it makes sense for it to be there, but I think that park could really, really benefit from an RMC Raptor.
I 100% agree. And actually, I could see this happening. You look at the Fun Spot family of parks. They have Air Force One that's at Fun Spot Atlanta.
Yeah.
So now we know that they are working with RMC. So if they like how Air Force turns out, they could be like, let's put one of your Raptor coasters down there because we already have an RMC iBox with Iron Gwazi. I mean,
but
it's in
there's
Tampa.
nothing like the Raptor, though.
Exactly. We don't have a single rail like that.
And Fun Spot doesn't get like so crowded that a Raptor would be like not good capacity wise.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, it's not. Like a Raptor I don't think would work at any of the other parks down here.
I agree.
Because they get way too slammed. But Fun Spot, I feel like it really would work.
And those things are compact and relatively affordable when it comes to like big thrills in a small space.
It would have to be something like Stunt Pilot though. Nothing like, not like Jersey Devil. Like we're talking like the smaller.
I think it'd be a standard layout.
Yeah.
But like, I also think Fun Spot Orlando has the land for it. I think they could totally fit it in.
I think so too.
Our next coaster, number 3. This one I feel like is a bit more of a pipe dream, but I feel like everyone would go nuts if this actually happened, and that is a Star Wars themed roller coaster. So it'd have to go at Disney's Hollywood Studios, probably Vekoma, because they do everything for Disney, or at least it feels like
I agree that it's like a total pipe dream, because if they were to ever expand on Galaxy's Edge, I feel like that's the logical choice. And they have this technology now with like Guardians and Tron, and I feel like they could easily be translated into doing something similar for Star Wars. Like
I totally agree.
I don't think it'll happen anytime soon.
This is something way like long term.
A lot of people were a little let down by Galaxy's Edge. I could see them being like, well, we're gonna expand and to try to regain interest. Like I personally think it's great, but there's definitely a lot more that could be done.
And they have the land for it. You take out Muppets and you put like a big show building there. I think it'd be really, really cool.
Give me pod racing. Come on. So one of the most iconic, but also somehow one of the worst roller coasters in Florida is Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. That thing's gotta go. Hollywood Rip it out.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this. I know some people like it, but I think that Universal can do so much better.
Yeah, and I love the idea of like picking your song and like, you know, I understand if they don't want to go upside down or whatever, but I think that you could put something that is equally like eye-catching and have it like not be that.
It wasn't even Universal's first choice. They were originally going to do a hyper or a mini hyper like Hollywood Dream at Universal Japan, but then that one like went over budget, so they're like, oh, how can we do something cheaper? So Mauer.
We thought of maybe doing something like a Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster.
Vertical lift hill,
similar
beyond
style.
vertical drop. The only coaster that has a beyond vertical drop is Iron Gwazi. Again, I don't think Universal would necessarily do this. We haven't seen them work with Gerstlauer, but it'd be really cool because also I feel like when it comes to that style of ride, Gerstlauer has perfected it in a way that a lot of the other manufacturers have not. Arguably the biggest roller coaster at SeaWorld San Antonio is Texas Stingrays, this massive GCI, big old wooden roller coaster. You would hope that one day they would bring that to SeaWorld Orlando.
Well, we just need like a good wooden roller coaster here. I mean, we have White Lightning.
It's small.
Yeah, it's small.
And
It's
Mind
like,
Blower is just rough.
I could see SeaWorld doing something like this. Although they just did a surf coaster.
Yeah.
And we would probably instead say straddle coaster, but we're kind of under the impression they're already maybe going that direction.
But also, I would say that a straddle coaster isn't something that Orlando necessarily needs. You already have Hagrid's and you have Tron that are in that style. I think that like a wooden coaster would fit so well at SeaWorld Orlando. Big old structure. It'd just be about finding the land for it, you know?
Yeah.
It's doable. I think they could make it work.
As much as I don't like them, I do admit that Florida would definitely benefit from an S&S 4D free spin.
It is a very different sensation than you get on any other roller coaster in the state. That flipping motion, and it's just very unique, and people like it.
And
it's not for everyone.
Fun spot.
Yes, it absolutely does.
Fun spot.
So if we're sending a Raptor to Orlando, send this one to Kissimmee. One of our favorite rides in the world is the Ride to Happiness at Plopsaland, Japan. And you also have Time Traveler, Silverado City. These Mach Rides extreme spinning coasters are so good. One would work amazingly in Florida. It would just fit so well. The problem is that you have to find a park that one can afford it, because Mach roller coasters, especially ones like these, are expensive. But then also you have to look at where a spinning coaster would work really well at. Busch Gardens Tampa has one, but it's a family coaster. But I feel like Busch Gardens Tampa also has the budget that they could sustain a Mach Rides Extreme spinning coaster. And even though they have Cobra's Curse, it's only for a little bit of the ride. I think it could work pretty well there.
Yeah, I would agree. And here's the thing. Mach is definitely expensive, but SeaWorld has worked with Mach before.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Cobra's Curse. There you go.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. So like they already have a history with them. And I mean, Cobra's Curse gets one of the longest lines in the park. Now, that's partially because of capacity, but it's also very popular.
Well, and those ride models just scream theming. And I think that one of those Busch Gardens parks would just do a really good job with that. We have a spinning coaster going to Epic Universe. It is proof that Universal is also working with Mach, so maybe they'd send something like that to Islands and it could work. I mean, you'd have to find a good place to fit it. But I don't know. I would say Islands or Studios or Busch Gardens Tampa, Mach Extreme Spinning Coaster would be fantastic there.
Mm-hmm. So the next one on our list is like a little less specific to one particular park. It's more about the uniqueness factor, I guess. So we're looking at a B&M wing coaster.
Which makes sense that Florida gets one of these at some point, because you look at the B&M models that are in Florida. We have Invert, we have Hyper, we're now getting stand-up.
We might get Giga someday.
We have Flyer, we have Floorless. Like, we have pretty much every model of B&M coaster except
crazy.
for a wing coaster.
We're literally like, this area is just a catalog for B&M. Wing coasters are very themable. You can give a story to them. Most of the parks down here care about theming to some extent.
Yes.
So I think it makes sense. It's not my first choice.
No, it's not mine either.
I mean, clearly we're on choice number, 8? So.
But I think that, like, this is something that I think Universal could work well with. I could see SeaWorld doing it. I mean, or Busch Gardens.
Here we go. We put the wing coaster at Legoland because they're already doing that at a different Legoland.
Oh, a family wing coaster.
Yes.
That's an interesting
There we
one.
go.
So instead of thinking big scale wing coaster, we just go the family model.
This is the Coaster Studio Cinematic Universe.
I know. We're just like plug and play. Like, where can we move
in
stuff
our world,
around?
this is what's
In
going
our
on.
world, we run all of these parks. And so our next choice is for a ride that doesn't currently exist.
We're really getting into the wish list part of
This is something I don't even know if it's practical at all, but oh my gosh, I would love to see an S&S Axis coaster somewhere in Florida. I feel like it's more of a Six Flags style ride, personally.
The only thing is, like, I would love that, but I don't know what park would bite on that one.
Like, if I had to pick one, maybe Busch Gardens, but like, I don't know.
Last but definitely not least on the list is a roller coaster model that, again, doesn't really exist yet anywhere.
I mean, it does, but not this way.
Not this way. We're looking at a Vekoma tilt coaster. I don't really know if anywhere in Florida would go for something like this.
I don't know either.
But like, God,
it'd be so
cool.
good.
Like
yeah.
I said, we're getting into the wish list. Not really that practical portion of it, but
I know. Again, I feel like this is more of a Six Flags Cedar Fair style like addition, and we have a tilt with Escape from Gringotts, but not really the same thing. I feel like so. Yeah, I don't know. One can dream. Maybe a brand new park will get built besides Epic Universe. Wow. Down here it's pretty spoiled with parks.
we're so spoiled.
I know.
Wow.
A different park in Florida is adding a new roller coaster pretty much every single year.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, SeaWorld alone is doing one every year.
once you throw everyone else into the mix, I mean, there's new rides popping up all the time. So, I don't know. I think some of these are pretty feasible. So, let us know down in the comments below what you think. If there's anything that we missed that you would add to Florida, and what you where you think some of these would go, you know?
Or if we're just totally out of our mind, you can let us know about that one too.
Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time.